Well, this brings us to the amazing conclusion that a king is a person. And if he's the head of, effectively, not just nominally, but if he's the head of a pyramidal structure of command, then there is a person of values and judgments that you can appeal to. Of course, the problem is the king may not be of good value and judgments. And, well, the buck stops here, I'm afraid. This is it. And, of course, our experience of kings in the past has been much of this problem. It was always thought, looking at Plato's understanding of the Republic, that, yes, it's all very well and good, provided your persons with ultimate control have some glorious perfection about them. What if they're not? The Hebrew solution was to say, God is our king. Well, until they got a bit flippant about things and longed for a king, and they got someone like Saul. And in a sense, the story is to say they got what they deserved. They didn't value God as their king. But look, I'm not talking about history. I'm talking about historicity and scripture. And then they get the perfect king sort of thing, which is David, which doesn't have a perfect track record, of course, really, but it's pretty good compared to the others. And the whole religion, by which I mean not Christian religion, I mean the ancient Hebrew religion, was therefore built around the perfect state, which had to be dominated by, well, a pretty perfect individual, really. And, yeah. Well, Jesus' response is, my kingdom is not of this world. Who made me a judge over you? And why callest thou me good? None is good but my Father in heaven. You see, the story of Jesus isn't some upgrade to the Hebrew or even the transformation of such into Judaism. It radically contradicts much of extant religion. If you seek a harmony across the entire book of the Bible, for instance, well, you just end up with a porridge of contradictions and a bewilderment that should send any rational person far from the doors of your church, and does. They may come back from time to time in desperation, but they will have to leave by that same door that they came by. Which brings us, of course, to the epic poem of Omar Khayyam, which you might do well to read. Awake, for the sun who scattered into flight the stars before him from the field of night, drives night along with them and strikes the Sultan's turret with a shaft of light. It's a bit like reading Ecclesiastes and Wisdom of Solomon, whatever. It doesn't present as too godly at times, and rather hedonistic, in fact. In fact, there's all sorts of parallels you can draw between Ecclesiastes and the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. And it's probably not worth doing it either. Let me return to the start of this recording. Well, of course, we hoped that the king would be wise, but wisdom is not enough. You need the wisdom of good values. The wisdom of knowing what is good, and we don't. For we are all here as on a darkling plane, dealing with shadows instead of the true reality, as the Buddhist might say. So we can only worship what we truly value, which of course might be quite astray of what is best to value in some ultimate sense that we haven't yet grasped. So we can only trust that we will come to such by worshipping what we truly value, by devotion to what we truly value, I mean. In other words, we must have an optimism, a hope, that something will automatically bring us then to a divine encounter. And it's a circular argument. Don't hold it in contempt because it's circular. If you're going to judge it at all, and you will, because you have values, judge it by its fruits. Do you value these fruits? In which case you're going to keep going down this road. Or do you not? In which case you'll cut it down and you'll plant something else. Understood now to be better, and learn accordingly again. So we have a hope which we personify as our Heavenly Dad, because we relate best to persons, not things, not too well to organisations either, although we may attempt to be devoted to patriotism and membership at times. It pays off its reality, which is no life at all. So we choose to trust in our God being extant in some spiritual sense of personhood, that we are too, and that we are children of Him. He's our Dad, that He has our values, specifically your values, from your point of view, and will rescue and treat you accordingly. This is our hope. And we find that when we live accordingly, we are much blessed. Yes, our values do change, increasingly for the better, and then again, not so. And so we revise accordingly, or things get worse. And prompt us rather the harder to revalue. And some don't. Some hang on bitterly to wrong beliefs, wrong values, for a long time, perhaps all of this transitory life. And perhaps they have to come back 1,000,000 times more to exhaust a few other fruitless avenues, dead ends, before they resolutely adjust their values to the eternal. That may be our view. Whatever, taste and see. Whatsoever is good and lovely, as you understand it, think on these things. Devote yourself accordingly. See if your values stay the same, improve, or deteriorate. Adjust your sights accordingly until you find it better to do otherwise. Are there shortcuts? Oh yes, you listen to the wisdom of the wise. How do I choose the wise? Well, I'm afraid you'll choose them according to your present values, because you need to exhaust your present values. You need to move on to what they lead on to, which may well be the rejection of many of them and the embrace of something that you find more worthwhile. Bless you. Thank you, Heavenly Dad. Goodness, did I forget to tell you what good values were? Well, the good values I'm referring to are love and kindness and empathy and concern for others and compassion, forgiveness. Some notion of ideal eternal relationship. Integrity, goodness, integrity. The very foundation of God, integrity. If there's no integrity, if nothing holds together, you can build nothing. You have the chaos. Not even that. Even the chaos doesn't hold together as chaos. Interesting concept, isn't it? The point, wisdom without love is as bad as power without love. Wisdom and power without love. Oh my goodness. Doesn't bear thinking of. So we don't. Thank you, Dad. Our God, our Dad, is not this all-powerful, all-wise personification of anything but personhood. And we are persons born of Him. And no other trust or hope or faith will come near the eternity of such wonderfulness, of such blessing. Our Dad. Thank you, Dad.